I was sitting in a courtroom wearing my grandfather's old blazer, the one that still smelled faintly like meatballs, while my neighbor's husband pointed at me like I was a criminal mastermind. He was suing me for $25,000. His claim, my inherited Parrot deliberately seduced his wife and destroyed their marriage. I wish I were making this up. My grandfather died 3 months earlier. We were incredibly close. After my parents passed, he basically raised me. Every Sunday, I visited his apartment above the old barber shop he'd run back in the 1980s. That shop was where everything started. In 1987, right around the time my grandmother left him, Grandpa found an abandoned parrot in a cardboard box behind the shop. He named her Casanova. She became his whole world. Casanova learned to talk from decades of daytime television and gossiping customers getting perms. She whistled at everything: the coffee maker, the mailman, Judge Judy on TV. She whistled the Jeopardy theme whenever I walked in and greeted me with "Looking good, sweetheart," in the exact voice Grandpa used with my grandmother. When Grandpa died, I couldn't let Casanova go to a rescue. I brought her to my apartment instead. I set up her massive cage by the window so she could watch the street and played her favorite show, Friends, on my laptop. She was grieving too. The problem started when my neighbors, Vincent and Gina, walked past my window. Casanova was doing her usual routine, whistling at plants and saying, "Hey there, hot stuff." Gina burst out laughing. She doubled over, tears streaming down her face, telling Vincent, "Oh my God, that bird is so funny." Vincent's smile vanished. He stepped toward my window with his fists clenched like he was about to fight the parrot, a 45-year-old man squaring up to a bird. Gina had to pull him back, still giggling, which only made things worse. From that moment on, Vincent became obsessed. He went full surveillance mode, installed a Ring camera pointed directly at my window, bought some kind of parrot repellent on eBay, even hired a bird behaviorist who turned out to be a guy from Craigslist. He complained to the landlord that the whistling was sexually inappropriate, called animal control, claiming Casanova was an exotic threat, filed a sex offender report. When none of it worked, he hired a lawyer. That's how I ended up in court listening to Casanova described as the defendant's weapon of marital destruction. During the hearing, Vincent presented his case like he was prosecuting a mob boss. Spreadsheets of whistle timestamps, audio recordings of Casanova saying, "Hello, gorgeous," and "Shake it, baby." His wife Gina sat behind him, mortified, silently mouthing, "I'm sorry," at me. Vincent claimed I'd planted the bird when he saw them coming, that the whole thing was a calculated attack. When it was my turn, I didn't have a slideshow. I brought a cardboard box of my grandfather's things and the truth. First, I showed the DNA test Grandpa had done years ago, proving Casanova was actually female. Her real name was Patty, but Grandpa kept calling her Casanova because she already answered to it. Then I played a video compilation I'd made for Grandpa's funeral. It showed Casanova whistling at absolutely everything: a banana, the Weather Channel, a Roomba, her own food bowl, and a picture of Adam Sandler. I explained she had exactly 5 phrases, all learned from decades of barbershop TV. "Looking good, sweetheart," "Hey there, hot stuff," "Nice yams," "Shake it, baby," and inexplicably, "That's what she said," which she picked up from me watching The Office during lockdown. The judge asked if Casanova showed any preference for whistling at women. I replied that the day before she'd spent 20 minutes hitting on my Chipotle bowl. The courtroom started laughing. Even the court reporter was struggling. That's when Gina stood up. She looked directly at Vincent and announced she wanted a divorce, not because of the parrot, but because her husband had spent 3 months stalking a bird instead of going to marriage counseling like she'd asked. Vincent snapped. He lunged at Casanova's cage, screaming, "You feathered home wrecker! You ruined everything!" The bailiff grabbed him. As Vincent was being held back, Casanova tilted her head, looked him dead in the eye, let out a long wolf whistle, and said, "Hey there, hot stuff! Nice yams!" The timing was perfect. The courtroom exploded. Gina wheezed with laughter. The court reporter stopped typing. The judge banged his gavel 3 times, laughing so hard he had to wipe his eyes. Vincent stood there shaking with rage while the parrot kept going. "Looking good, sweetheart." The judge finally caught his breath and said, "Sir, I think the bird has made her position. Case dismissed."